this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks. This and that, spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas, think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past and the pettiness. A reflection of the emptiness, hilarious. You think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains that last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah. Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams is a modestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead of say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe, you could be so remarkable. Thoughts in my head, a collage in this bed. I'll be great one day, going.
Hello, good evening, everybody. On our program tonight. We're going to have a video. We're going to actually have Steph speak a little bit first about ongoing investigation, and then we're going to have a video. First thing we do is what we always do is go over the birthdays. Fran is trying to help someone connect.
Yep, John needs to give us his email. Do you want to take it and we start there?
Okay, why don't you do that? Go ahead, John.
Hello all. Okay. Sorry about that. Got some new people coming on and trying to get connected and they're having a hard time. Can everyone hear us? Just let us know in the chat if you can hear us. And we got a lot of folks here already. Thank you so much for coming on. Of course, Shauna and Vern, we thank them for sponsoring us and being the host that they are. They do such a great job. We really appreciate it. Sten, one in Dallas. Let's see, Jane Spitfire. Hi, Jane. And we have Debbie Moore. Hi, Debbie. Glad you're all here. Sky. And Scope ST co-pilot and Danette. So we've got to send that to him. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. And Wildwall, Keith Silver, thank you for all joining us. We'll go right into the birthdays because Steph has an important message for us.
Yeah.
So.
The birthdays.
Mm-hmm. Right here. Okay.
Are you going to send that to John?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh, okay. April 1st, Donna Zuck Adley, Bunny Wallace, Mary Parsons, dehydrated nurse. April 2nd, John Miller, Wild Wall, Pasta Dude, Jackie Jacks. April 3rd, Sylvia Fecker. April 4th, Kenny Carpenter. April 8th, Corey Martis. I'm at one with a force. 56 years old. Good. April 9th, Yanira Vacalo. April 10th, Sunny M. April 11th, Tina, Debbie's daughter, and Mads Avenue. April 12th, Steph woke up. And also April 12th, Sarah Sorhai, Ab L. Barton, Jack, Johnny's son, Jacob, Michelle's son, 32 years old, celebrating his birthday for the first time. That will be special. And then also Mr. CIA's wife, happy birthday. April 14th, Martha Irwin, Martin Riley. April 15th, Dana Bell. April 17th, a lot of birthdays in April. Rebecca Hayes, Ruby, Robin Pidio, and Stephanie. April 18th, John and Jake Randall, Alexis Lambert, Connor Marshman. April 20th, Linda Kiefer, Michelle Martinez. April 21st, Tall Cool Woman, and Trisha. April 24th, Espy, Michelle's daughter, 16 years old. And that's a cuckoo's day today. April 25th, Emily Anderson. April 26th, Jay, 47 years old. April 27th, Maria Torres. April 28th, Errol. April 29th, Liza Kunson, Dan and Dave Tortorella, and April 30th, Ashley Campbell. And to all of you, happy birthday. Whether it's your first one or your next one, happy birthday.
Happy birthday! Happy birthday!
88@yahoo.com.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try again. And then the anniversaries. Do you want to do anniversaries?
Yeah, anniversaries this month. I think there's 2 8s. There's either
Two
3.
eights.
We'll try 2 8s. Maybe it's
I
3.
don't think that three. the
April
two-
10th. I think we missed some.
These are just anniversaries. So that's the
Okay,
first
I'm sorry.
one.
April 10th, Vic and Gretchen Cruz. April 13th, Mike and Eva Arnold. April 20th, Bob and Nancy Scott. April 29th, Chad and Sarah Reinold. Happy anniversary.
We're about to have a beautiful time. About to throw a party tonight. Hey. It's been a really long day for me. I should be living my life. Hey. Because time won't wait for me. I ought to throw a party tonight. Hey. Me and my friend, and I'll be happy that I made it. Yeah, to the end of the day. That's right. So I guess I throw a party tonight. Hey.
Sent.
Upcoming events,
Want me to do some?
please.
Okay, so May 17th, there's going to be a meetup in Orange County area, California. The details are there. Some mail delivery didn't go through.
Two.
May 17th.
Okay, do 2 8s instead of 3.
Okay. Sorry, we're just trying
We're
to get
trying
an
to
email
get-
through to someone.
We're trying to get a link to someone, so please bear with us. Upcoming meetup, Orange County area, California, on the 17th of May. The 18th, 1 p.m., ExJW Excellent Chicken Barbecue Meetup, and that's in just outside of Utica, New York. August 1st, still live in 2025, the ExJW convention. It's ExJW convention. And that's one that's Rick Fearon's putting on, putting out all the effort for a nice time. September 26th, Las Vegas at, at 6 p.m., September 27th, 12 a.m., Las Vegas, Nevada, ex-Jehovah's Witness.
So it's 2
meetup.
days.
Two
It's
days,
September
okay.
26th and September 27th.
And then October 2nd, 5-day cruise Carnival Friends, whatever that is. Carnival Friends.
I think it's just the name of it.
And if anybody has the interest, you can make your own meetups. It's a great thing to do, no matter 2 people or 20 or more or less, but it's worth it. The support you get with each other is invaluable. because you're not going to get it from the society or from your family if you're being shunned.
Okay. So yes, our website is ExJWFriends.com.
Tell me your email address.
Okay. So on there's birthdays, there's meetups, and we're having a new page. We're going to have therapists, and we're going to have life coaches. We're going to have a lot of life coaches on there. They're going to have their pictures. So you're more than welcome to check that out. We have Stephanie Lynn Carson with us tonight. She's going to give us an update on the redress, because there's more categories coming in. So, okay, if Stephanie is in the chat.
The other one, the redress form. Thank you.
Stephanie.
Hello, Stephanie.
Hi, how are you guys doing tonight?
Good. How are you doing tonight?
Doing well. Thank you so
Okay.
much. Always
Well,
a nice time talking to you.
Well, I thank you. We're trying to get everything squared away with someone new, so I hope they can get in too. But you want to clarify some things now?
Oh, yeah. Well, I called into the Rick Farron show the other night, and I was just so excited. I think you guys were too. There was a caller on there that is very enthusiastic about what he's been doing. And I got to tell you, I just love seeing so many people trying to hit, these really high profile targets. Nod, he was on this show the other night. He was talking about how he was making a 200-page document, and he wanted to get it all about the harmful practices of Watchtower, about the CSA.
Yeah.
He wanted to get the 200-page document that he's making. He mentioned Elon Musk and some other, high figures. And I'm just like, wow, I just love the enthusiasm, especially, for those of us that, we grew up in the Kingdom Hall. Politics was never something we paid attention to. It's been, I think since COVID hit, a lot of people are paying a lot more attention to who runs the world and who makes these rules, right?
Yeah. Oh boy. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. It's, yeah, so I loved meeting on. I did talk to him the next day on the phone, and I clarified some of the things he was talking about. He's working alone. He doesn't work for any agencies or anything like that. But, so he's just another one of us out there screaming into the wind. Did you all hear about Jimmy Bell? His Project Paperclip was in the news in was it Spain, I believe.
Yeah.
And so Watchtower took special note to what the news article had to say, and I don't know if you know this or not, but they're being sued for, I think it's defamation of character or something. Watchtower is suing the publishing company, which is very interesting.
Watchtower. So which publishing company?
Well, I sent you to the article earlier today, the one about Operation Spotlight. The media in Spain that wrote that, is my understanding, they're being sued because
they're being sued.
Because we are presenting, this negative side to Watchtower that they don't like.
They got to try.
Yeah. So Jimmy. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, they have to try. I mean, they wouldn't feel right if they didn't try.
Oh yeah, exactly. But kudos to Jimmy Bell and his team. And they're shooting for the same targets that this Nod guy is shooting for. Yeah. I think a lot of us are seeing that maybe we have, break in the clouds, and we have an opportunity to maybe finally get some people that are in power to listen to us for, you know, the human right abuses that we've all suffered, all of us,
Yeah.
not just the satanic ritual abuse survivors or the child sexual assault survivors.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, so I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about, I think, you know, the day after that, we had a lot of questions come up as far as what is going on.
Yeah.
So what is going on, just so that everybody knows, is that there's a bunch, you know, we're just trying. Everybody's out there trying, and we're hearing more murmurs of, you know, these higher profile targets, which is awesome. You know, I think we all should be writing letters. But on that note, you guys know about the redress, and originally we had opened it up to child survivors of assault, and you know, we kind of just drew the line there, which after we got thinking about it, you know, we really thought, well, grief, how do we leave out these other crimes, because we really, all of us have been hurt and harmed by Watchtower.
Yeah.
I know your wife and I were talking, I think it was just yesterday on the phone, we were talking about the split mind, you know, that can come from just being in a cult, you know, because you have to be perfect, but yet you have to have the second persona so that you can survive in the world and have a job and, you know, just survive. It does. It makes like
people's minds. It
Yeah.
messes people's minds terrible.
Yeah, and then the first thing they do as soon as you quote unquote live a double life, they punish you.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I just wanted to come on and kind of tame the waters a little bit. We do have a lot going on. So the Watchtower redress petition is a global redress. And what we have found is that if we can gather all of these letters in one place, they hold more power. So, you know, sending a single letter somewhere, or even a group of people sending a bunch of letters, we're finding that when they get to the government offices, you know, one intern one day might get 2 or 3 letters, they file them away. You know, on Tuesday, somebody else comes in to work and doesn't know that these 12 letters go, right.
Yeah.
And so we spoke to some people that, you know, do this stuff a little bit more as a real job, you know, so we're trying to get you know, trying to get help along the way. And so that was their suggestion for us all to come together. So that's why we're doing the redress questionnaire to be sent into one of the addresses at the bottom. And you can see on there, we're dealing with issues of trafficking, CSA, SRA, human rights violation, raping, whether it's of a child or an adult, forced labor, other crimes of bodily harm or threat thereof. I have to tell you about my friend in Italy, and this is a good reason why we put this on there, the threat of battery. When she had left Jehovah's Witnesses, and shortly thereafter, COVID hit and shut the world down. And someone in the Kingdom Hall was triggered into thinking that now is Armageddon. So she, as an apostate or no longer a friend of Jehovah, needed to die. And she was beat near death with a baseball bat.
Oh my goodness.
And, you know, so that's one of the things your wife and I were talking about yesterday, is how, you know, the cult creates this separation in the mind, you know, to every one of us, not just, you know, the satanic ritual survivors, you know, maybe they have deeper scars, but we've all been injured by it. But that separating of the mind, you know, the attacker, you know, was just triggered that it's Armageddon. It's time to become violent. And I think there's a lot of that in the world that we just don't know about.
I think people are like cocked guns ready to go off.
Yeah. Just any little thing is just triggering. It's very scary.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I wanted to talk about that because I was very excited that, we decided to expand the petition. And then also, if you notice on the website, the forms are now available in several languages. So it'll be easier for people in other parts of the world to participate in this redress. So then we'll take these letters and we will, show up with these boxes and boxes of letters and start demanding of, our institutions and our governments to take notice of us, that we're not just one or two over here or 12 over here, that we are allowed unanimous voice. So
Yeah.
I hope that clarifies some things.
Yeah, no, you can't underestimate the effort that puts it together in a package that they can understand and respect.
Right.
And rather than scattered pieces of crumbs tossed at them, this is one package that they can deal with.
Yeah, the world is changing, and the world is changing with grassroots movements.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I really learned, because in 2017, my brother passed away to a heroin overdose. He was homeless. And when he died, I learned he had a small child, age 6 months, out on the streets somewhere. So I had to start trying to find this child, right? Just to make sure the child was safe. And, I couldn't get any help from the police. I couldn't get any help for any type of authority. The only people that helped me in my journey were people that broke the rules to help me. Like someone in the courthouse gave me some paperwork that I probably wasn't supposed to have, just because, we're at a point where we have to go back into our core, our human, in order to fix the world. Yeah. And so that's why my husband and I decided to do this investigation this way, to use the skills that we gained over the years of investigating and putting things together. And I know you guys know, a lot of people don't know what I do, but I spend most of my time in the political arena, getting up close, very up close to people on both sides of the administration, whether it's Democrat or Republican. So I know quite a few people. So I'm hoping to combine the two, and just like what was that gentleman the other day, Nod, and just like Jimmy Bell and their group, we all hope to reach a high target. So thank you for your interest in what we've been doing.
Oh yeah, thank you for your effort in doing it. My goodness.
Yeah. So thank you. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions that you've heard of, or anything else that I can clarify? I guess I do want to say one thing that keeps being asked of us is about the details given. We only want you to identify what crimes you think were committed against you. We don't want the details yet. That will come between you and, the attorney, or when and if we get law enforcement, behind us on this.
So when you say no details, you mean just a identifying something. Right.
Just identifying, assault and battery, something short and sweet, but especially when it comes to the crimes of a sexual nature, we certainly don't need to violate any survivors by making them tell and retell and tell and retell their story. Yeah. So the redress is very exciting, but also exciting is the class action lawsuit, which anybody in the United States can, any survivors of childhood sexual assault can, contact the attorney. So on the same website, we also have the client intake forms that get sent directly to the attorney on those forms, you're going to be a little more elaborate, just because they are going straight to an attorney that will be reviewing your case, so that would be attorney-client privilege, and it would be privileged information, but they would want to know more than those of us doing the investigation.
Oh, I see. Well, this wouldn't happen if you didn't continue to push it along. So
Well,
we appreciate that.
Well, that's my whole point, is we're all pushing, and it was just so exciting to talk to that nod
Yeah.
the other night. And even though it's kind of bad news, it's still good news that, Jimmy Bell's team is getting attention too, so.
Well, I guess battles are all part of a war.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
And it's not anywhere near over. My goodness.
Yeah. No, and our brothers and sisters in the other countries have certainly laid the foundation for us.
Yeah.
It's just time for
Yeah.
us in America to, cut the head off the snake, if you will. This is where the cults are at.
I have a feeling that if we could know everything that's going on, it would be eye-opening.
Mm.
It was just we couldn't possibly see or know what's happening.
No.
Because so many of these investigations and gatherings have to be kept secret.
Right.
Otherwise, it ruins the investigation
Mm-hmm.
and the
Right.
evidence gathering.
Right.
So,
And there's so much investigating that goes on even before it reaches any
Yeah.
type of government agency.
yeah.
It's being a victim or a survivor. Like, for instance, I'm about ready to file a lawsuit against Watchtower for the crimes committed against me as a child. And, I've been fighting this for almost 10 years. And it really is a war that we have to go through. And you don't come out as only victim survivor. You have to come out as an advocate for yourself. You have to learn how to navigate, this whole world of defending everyone so that you can defend yourself. It's really hard work.
I've got to appreciate the realism that you're adding to the life that people live in the real world,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to the fantasy world that the witnesses came from or that they live in. It's a fantasy world. Absolute
It is
fantasy world.
It is a fantasy world. It is a fantasy world, but think about this, Joe. I know we have a lot of the same thoughts,
Yeah.
but every prophecy has boots on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
So why would Watchtower be any different?
Yeah. Yeah.
I hear about these breakaway civilizations where, there's these tunnels where people are
Uh-huh.
doing nefarious things
Yeah.
underground.
Yeah.
Well, why wouldn't there be a Noah's Ark today? Where the
They say history repeats itself
yeah,
precisely.
Yeah.
It doesn't just repeat itself a little. And it's like
and we don't learn.
yeah. Isn't that
And here-
something?
Yeah, here, there's people like you and I out here. They call us conspiracy theorists, because
Well, the
we're
CIA made sure of that.
That's true. Yeah.
We wouldn't be called that if it wasn't for them.
Yeah, I wear my tinfoil tiara very well.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't take too long for a conspiracy to become a fact.
No. So I honestly think that they messed with several generations of children
Well, I don't doubt
to
that.
cause, this moral and this, this hatred inside of people that can be triggered and turn people into these death machines.
Well, I mean, it goes back to, previous war era situations where they started with the youth
Right.
and they mobilized the youth. And that did
Always
not
the children against the parents.
end.
How
Worse.
about the Order of Assassins? Have you ever heard about them from ancient Persia? It's called the Order of Assassins, and it was actually a religious order, Muslim denomination. And I mean, it sounds exactly like like Sirhan, he says he went through mind therapy, mind control programs, right?
Right.
But this order of assassins, what they used to do is they would find a young man on the streets, and they would give him some opium and then take him to a place, like a Garden of Eden, if you will, full with fruit trees and beautiful, luscious women. And then after he really started to enjoy it there, they would re-drug him and then take him back to where they found him.
Wow.
And they would tell him, oh, yeah, you died. You were in heaven. That's heaven. That's where you were at. If you want to get back to heaven, you're going to have to go kill the Sultan or whatever.
Wow.
I think that's where the story of Zorro comes from.
Really? I always wondered about Zorro.
I think so, because there's Zoroastrianism, which is also an ancient cult, which all of this stems from.
Yeah. Not a lot of the young ones, I don't think, know anything about Zorro.
That was more our.
That was, yeah.
My brothers, they'd love to watch 60s. It. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I think you're giving some fodder for research for some people that do research Zorro.
Okay, so my husband is sitting here looking through the comments right now. Happy Heretic says, can a person tell an experience of Watchtower CSA about others that you know of, or what the victims have told you themselves, or does not count as hearsay for those that don't know yet? Okay, so Happy Heretic, yes. Very good point to bring up. So the redress forms are for us to just show the extent of the problems within Watchtower. So if you know of something, yes, please, by all means, let us know. One of the other things we're trying to do with, so yes, you can file this redress on behalf of other people. One of the other things we're trying to do, so Shannon Simondinger recently came forward and filed a suit. Her case comes out of the Palmer files. But Shannon and I never knew each other as Jehovah's Witness children. But later we found that it was my brother that had disfellowshipped her. So we found this connection, So that's one of the other things that we're hoping to do with the petition of redress. And that's part of the investigation is, trying to, form a web and to see, how all these stories tie together. So,
Hi,
yeah.
Steph.
Hi.
Sorry, we're just trying to help someone get on.
You
Thank
two
you for
are
coming on.
amazing.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Yeah, thank you for having me. I hope I've answered the questions. And
yeah, and it's nice to know things are happening. Otherwise, the people just kind of talk among each other in hopefulness, but this is actually something that we can be.
And hopefully it turns into something really big. That's what I'm hoping. It's really like the crescendo, is that what you call it? Where the
builds up,
leading up. I think we're getting there. All of us together.
What we work at comes through.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Steph.
Thank you very much for having me on. Appreciate y'all.
Love you.
Too.
Thank you, Steph.
Love you too. Have a great show.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well.
Okay, so.
Go ahead.
John was trying to get on, but I don't know, he kept getting knocked off. So now he's going to try a different.
That's the world of digits.
Yeah, we're going to try a different device, so I might have to leave again.
Okay.
Did you want to do the
video? Let's go to the video. I think you're going to see some helpfulness in this video. It's very, how do I want to say this? It's very pointed information about people and their behavior, and when we understand it, we can be more aware of them. So if we can see it.
Okay, John. Okay.
This knowledge has been used for a really long time by some humans to socially engineer other humans, but people are waking up.
I'm the guy that teaches psyops, telling you that we are in a psyop, 1,000%.
Most people, they're just going to be governed by these unconscious patterns
To the grave.
and then
Yeah.
navigating that accordingly.
Everything that I'm judging in another person is me. It's all me. We are all one. If you think this comes down to like left versus right, you are a victim of psyop.
Politics is a puppet show. It's all
Yeah.
here to distract you.
When we were talking earlier about a loneliness epidemic, your head was nodding the whole time. Who talks about it? But the thing that is keeping most people back that you'll never see in these courses and books online is carrying shame, concealed shame.
Okay, so that sounds like something that's probably pretty widespread.
If I can find a woman that's like my mom, I can put myself in the situation so that my open loop from childhood, I can figure out how to close it.
Wow.
So that's when you see people getting in all these toxic relationships. You and I shook hands out in the driveway.
Yeah.
You didn't smile.
Oh, really? I didn't
So it was 2 seconds into our interaction, and I had like the, okay, he's a type 7.
We can stop there if you want, by the way. I don't want to go into
Well,
but if there's something else you want to say, please go ahead.
You're obviously a psychopath, but
Damn it. So you began your career in the Navy,
yes.
but then you've shifted at some point into studying behavioral science. How do those two things dovetail together? How did you go from being in the Navy to being a behavioral scientist?
I joined the Navy when I was 17. Like my parents had to sign like a permission slip for me to join. And I stayed in the Navy for 20 years. So I retired. I did a full retirement from the Navy, but I got obsessed with human behavior and kind of what makes people tick when I was 19. And I was in Waikiki Beach. I was stationed in Pearl Harbor. And I was at this Irish pub and I got turned down by a girl. And I went home and I typed in how to tell when girls like you onto the internet. And I got really good at reading people. And it was just because like, I didn't want to face rejection again. I wanted to have this big list of here's what to look for. And I got kind of obsessed with this because I started seeing people's weaknesses, their fears, their insecurities that I always thought were, private data. Like you can't see that stuff. And it's a lot more on public display than you would ever realize. And I think I got addicted to it because I had some level of maybe social anxiety or something. And the more that I could see like, oh, everybody else is screwed up. It's not just me. I'm not the only person that's screwed up here.
So you started seeing in other people what you were experiencing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like little insecurities and little fears that they had and seeing like they're human beings as well. And I think just seeing the delicate side of people became addictive because it just destroyed my social anxiety. So I got addicted to doing that over time. And then right as I was kind of getting good at that stuff, at the body language part, my friend was killed on USS Cole, the attack that happened on 9/11 in the Gulf of Yemen. Craig Weberly is his name. And I read all these intel reports, the assets that we had, the agents, the intelligence Jason Bourne dudes that we had over there didn't get all the intel that we needed from the agents that were on the ground and stuff like that. Could have been prevented if we had people there. So I thought, let me just teach this to the government. Let me develop the system. Like this is stuff that I could teach. And then I went to some of these government trainings. I went to government interrogation training and interview and all of this other stuff. And I thought, it's the government. It's going to be like the best. It's going to be the best in the world. And it was like, hey, shake somebody's hand firmly, make some eye contact, use their name a little bit, touch them on the shoulder. And like, that was it. Like that was a U.S. government spy training was about at that level. So I started getting all of this other stuff in, because I'm looking at the interrogation operations that are happening over in the Middle East.
Mhm.
How can we do those better? So I just went rabbit hole down into extreme hypnosis and brainwashing and how mind control works and like every possible thing. I spent weeks on end with cult recruiters in California and in San Bernardino. I've spent weeks with dudes that their whole job was talking young girls into doing adult movies.
Wow.
So like I wanted to figure out, because like if you're a foreign national, right, and I want you to give secrets of your country to me,
Mm-hmm.
you're agreeing to face the death penalty.
Mm-hmm.
So all of this was about talking someone into doing something that's not in their best interest.
Mhm.
And I really honed in on that and did a whole lot of study. We came up with this system called NCI, which we teach now. It's neurocognitive intelligence. Is the system that the DIA gets trained in, and all these intelligence dudes. And I even train psyops.
Mm-hmm.
That was a long answer to your question.
Wow. No, it's a great intro. So the social anxiety piece is interesting to me because I don't think I realized I suffered from it until retrospect. As I got older, I realized I was much more anxious and nervous in social settings.
Yeah.
And I, partly through this job, partly through public speaking, these things you kind of like, I don't know, I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Out of our people, it doesn't seems like come from.
On a 1 to 10 scale, how deep do you want to go on this?
Well, this is a deep show, so
Let's go deep.
Let's go deep.
So if we rewind history for 10, 20,000 years, about 220,000.
I think we're having technical difficulties. The video is kind of acting up. Just to answer your question, Calty, Stephanie was just coming on. It wasn't going to be a question and answer, right?
Yes, she wasn't.
Yeah, she wasn't.
Yeah.
But she wasn't answering questions this time. She just wanted to keep it in front of us. Yes, you did mention that it is a religious affiliated. Where is it? Where did you say that? I can't. It's back here somewhere. Well, WOW is a religiously affiliated nonprofit organization. Okay. So sorry if we missed any questions.
Can answer them all.
No, we can't answer them all. The chat's going pretty fast tonight. We appreciate everyone in the chat. I don't know if we're going to get that video back, but I did take some notes on it. It was talking about, what was the name of the video? Do you remember?
Protect yourself from manipulators. And basically, the manipulating people is a craft. It's not just, I don't even know we're still on tonight. I don't think we're on.
Can you hear us? Just let us know in the chat if you can hear us talking.
I think we've got some issues here. Is that doing anything? It says not charging.
You want to charge it here? You want to try a different one? Okay. Paul and Andrea are on. Well, Paul was going to make a he was going to give an experience about what's happening with his mother and father. Do you want to bring Paul on?
Sure.
Okay, it's kind of choppy
Absolutely.
tonight, so
Yeah, we're going to have to be flexible.
yeah.
Can't always control the internet.
So, Shauna, if Paul is back there, can you bring him on, please? What did she say? I lost my feed. Shauna said.
Yeah.
And we have call to you in the chat. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, apparently we lost the feed. Back.
I'll ask her if Paul is in the, because Paul took time out of his schedule.
Well, I don't think it wouldn't be any easier for
Right,
Paul to get on in the video.
right.
I don't know if anybody can hear me now, but see, apparently,
Nobody's backstage. I can, y'all, Joe and Fran. Okay, can you hear us? Testing.
Just someone let us know.
Okay.
Call T has someone said something off. Someone has said something off.
In the video?
Something off.
Could have been.
Something off?
You said pandemic. They didn't say any words, I
Really?
don't think.
Because you said a word?
Well, they can get a strike.
Wow.
If we're having trouble with the video, I don't know what to say. All right, Paul said he's on. I think he means okay. Go to the live chat and
Can still hear. Dallas, apparently you can hear us.
go to the live chat. Well, if anybody wants to come on, Diane is backstage. Movie is ready now. Can we just hold on the movie? Do you mind?
I think it might be easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have
Okay.
people.
Yep. Okay. Go to the live chat and hi,
Hello,
Diana.
Hello.
Diana, right? Did I say it right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay, Diana. Yes. So we're kind of all over the place tonight, but glad you're in.
Yeah.
You had, I think you said you had some vacation.
Yes, a week vacation. A week and a half still.
Wow. Good. Hope the weather's nice for you.
Oh, yes. We had 24, 25 degrees Celsius. So I don't know what is
Oh, that's hot.
with you.
That's hot, isn't it? 80-ish.
I don't. It's quite hot. I went to a flower exhibit in Holland with my sister and my aunt, and I actually just got home like 10 minutes before the show started.
Well, I guess we're having slight problems with the internet. It's not as good as it was previously.
Yeah.
Yeah. So being flexible here. The video that we were going to show or trying to show talked about protecting yourself from manipulators. And the manipulation isn't just something that some people do because they're sneaky, crafty, or whatever. It's a craft. It's a study. It's something that people have devoted their lives to, for the military, for government, industry, and unfortunately in religion as well. The Watchtower knows these things, the ways of manipulation, and we were right front and center, the subject of them. We were the subject of their state-of-the-art manipulation and exploitation. So it's a little late, but we're learning how they did it. We're learning the methods. And so as to protect ourselves from it continuing on us. Because the easiest thing to happen, and we're hearing it, that some of the ones coming out gravitate back toward organizations that do the same thing.
Yes.
They're used to it. It's familiar. It's for some reason it feels right. It feels familiar. And until a body recognizes it for the damage that it's doing, they're going to keep involving themselves with it, and they're going to get hurt.
Yeah. Actually, I read that some people who have been in a cult actually have brain damage.
Yeah, don't doubt it. Don't doubt it. Well,
Yeah, I talked to my sister when I, was waking up in 2020. I started telling my sister, I discovered that and that and that about the Watchtower. And she said, I told you that 30 years ago. It was like you didn't even hear me. I said, I didn't remember.
everybody's going to learn this lesson at a different rate.
Hey, Paul. Yeah, Paul came on because he had a experience with his parents he just wanted to share with us.
Yeah.
Talking about shunning.
Yeah.
So I'm not disfellowshipped. My dad was a circuit overseer for 20 something years, brother in Bethel for 35 something years. So they're very spiritually tied into the organization, as well as the thought processes of, I guess, the governing body. So when I faded and I wanted my parents to meet my girlfriend, Andrea, and after a 2:00 text from my mother about how I should be a good spiritual head and take my wife back, whom I'd been divorced from for a year, I told them that next day that I really wanted them to know my girlfriend. And so I sent them a blog post that had been done on my girlfriend and I. And 3 days later, I got a text message from my dad on April 1st of 2022 saying basically, don't call us, don't contact us unless you're dying. We won't contact you unless we're dying.
Jeez.
And so when the organization had some new light and some changes recently, last year or so, with disfellowship people, my dad reached out to me and said, hey, we'd love to talk to you. And I told him I wasn't ready. I needed some time to think about it. And so a couple of days later, I just told him that I couldn't do it because I knew that had the organization made a change again, that they would just shun me again. And mentally, emotionally, I couldn't take it. So a month ago, my phone rang twice in a row from my mother. And I had actually given them Andrea's phone number and said, if you need to get in touch with me, contact Andrea. And so I had Andrea text my mom, and my mom said my dad got diagnosed with cancer. So that was a Monday. So I sent her a text back, said I was sorry, that dad had gotten diagnosed with cancer, and if there was anything that I could do to let me know. And then Friday, my mom got diagnosed with cancer the same week. My dad's was prostate, very treatable. My mom's, it's still up in there how treatable it is because she's got tumors that have grown through her skull into her brain like octopus tentacles.
Oh my goodness.
And so naturally I called and I made arrangements to fly to California from West Virginia where they're at, and Andrea flew with me. We went to the hospital where she was at, and we stayed for 6 days and spent 5 days at the hospital with them. And it was difficult because not having any conversation with him, any relationship with him for 3 years, suddenly we're in a very dreadful situation. And at first it was difficult because my father, hey, P3, I'm Paul Kohler III. Hey, P3, hugged me like nothing's transpired in the last 3 years, that had. And so I really had to shift to acting like nothing was wrong. So I think the mindset, I think we lost Fran. Oh, there's Fran. There we go. The mindset that I've had to keep throughout out of all of this is they're victims. I can't be mad at them.
No.
I can be mad at the governing body because they're the manipulators. And I just sent Fran a video. She can probably find a cleaner video of it on YouTube from probably the 50s or the 60s of John Cleese talking about extremism and how extremism, whether it's left or right or religious or whatever, they give you someone to hate, an enemy, and a whole list of reasons why you should hate them.
Who's that, Paul? John who?
John Cleese, Cleese. I texted you a video to your phone. You'll have to watch it.
Okay, yep. I'll
Find a
look on
cleaner
it.
video. But it talks about how,
Texted it.
I'm looking at the governing body as extremists, and they give you people to hate, and they give you reasons, justifiable reasons to hate those people. And though Jehovah's Witnesses talk about shunning as a loving action or provision, it's really hate. You shun people you hate. And so I'm getting over being sick. So that extremist view of shunning is really just an expression of the governing body to protect their adherents from being influenced by people that the governing body hates. And so I look at my parents then and now as victims. My mother more so than my father. My father was a circuit overseer. God knows how many people he disfellowshipped or elders he recommended for deletion or whatever. But in reality, he's probably more of a victim than my mother because he's more programmed by the governing body to do what he's done. And so they find my girlfriend tends to use the term weak, and I really resent that term because it's not weakness. They just exploited somebody that was vulnerable. And so, my dad, fresh out of Vietnam, was vulnerable. And they found someone that, especially ex-military, that's very good at following directions. And so, I'm just having to keep that mindset that they're victims. And I encourage everybody to look at it that way. It makes it much more palatable, if that makes sense. So that's where I'm at right now. My mom spent 16 days in the hospital. She's home right now.
Wow.
We don't really know how treatable it is. They are treating her, and Dad started treatment the same week.
Wow.
And, my dad, despite being a very hard man for a lot of years, has done an about face. And they both talked about, everybody in their congregation has beards. They have to see how much the organization has changed. And I think I texted you, Fran, that I refer to it as generational changes. Every few generations, when they realize that things can't continue the way they are, they cast off the people of the last generation. They're usually older. They cater to the newest generation that's in. And that's what we're seeing now. And in 50, 60, 80 years, the next generation of victims will be the young people now.
Yeah.
So,
Paul, I appreciate you sharing that, and I do certainly think about your parents in the situation. And I commend you for the way you're approaching it and
Thank you.
and loving them, despite the lack of love that came from the organization. But I was going to say something. I can't remember what I was going to say. Oh, yes, I do. When we came into the organization in 1985, we knew nothing about what happened in 75.
Yeah.
Nothing was ever mentioned. And apparently so many had dropped off at 75 because of the failed promise.
Yeah.
And yet they picked up a new breed of suckers, new breed of candidates, new breed. They're doing the same thing now, apparently, I think. Of course, I don't know how many people are, more people can be so much more wise to the organization just by a few keystrokes on their phone to find out a little bit about Jehovah's Witnesses.
Well, the funny thing about 75 is we came in 69 when I was 1 year old. And my I don't know if you ever knew a district overseer named Dennis Raftopoulos. He was big in the New England area. Dennis was very influential in my father's life and them serving where the need was greater. So my dad never believed in stay alive to 75, neither did Dennis Raftopoulos. And so I don't know. I don't think the organization was divided evenly between 75 and, it's not coming in 75. I know there's a mass exodus right about then because I don't remember the mass exodus because I was 6. What I do remember is the aftermath in the coming years of people trickling back in, people resentful because it didn't come in 75. So we went from Providence, Rhode Island congregation, actually Lincoln, Rhode Island congregation, to Savannah, Tennessee in 74 to serve where the need was greater. So my dad wouldn't have gone in 74 to serve where the need was greater if he thought the end was coming in 75. But we stayed in Savannah until 79 and went to Waverly, Tennessee. Now, the Savannah group, there were a few that believed in 75, but when we got to Waverly, there were a lot of folks that took the 75 seriously. We went there in 79, and there were witnesses there that bought airplanes and huge houses and Lincoln Continentals and Cadillacs, thinking the world was going to end, and it didn't end. And so that congregation really had suffered from that stay alive to 75 mentality. But prior to the 75 thing, was witnesses smoked. That ended. The congregations were still segregated for some period of time. Even in the South into the early 70s, there were black congregations and white congregations. And so a lot of the changes then were geared towards the organization coming in line with Jehovah's will, which would be stop smoking, in segregation, so there were positive changes in the organization geared towards becoming more clean in Jehovah's eyes. Now it's like a backwards, it's a regression. Wear beards in the hall, wear dresses, easing up on disfellowshipping. And I can't imagine now, like you were saying, Joe, with the internet, how people leave 75 alone, just look at disfellowshipping and shunning. And they can't cover that up. I've been saying for a couple of years now, I think there's a name change coming very soon.
To the organization?
Yes.
Yeah.
I really do.
I don't doubt it. They're a corporation.
Yeah.
They're marketers. They're marketers of a corporation. And they're
Well, when we came in, they were still book publishers. Watchtower Bible and Tract Society.
Yeah.
And I remember, as well you may do, going to the literature desk and buying magazines and books to place in the field.
Yeah.
And so I don't, right now they're getting a lot of money from the sale of properties.
Yeah. Well, we made them. Yeah, we made them a real estate organization.
Now
we made them that.
Now I'll tell you something else, and you can actually look it up. Google Paul Kohler, Jehovah's Witness, California, and you'll see about 16 years ago, when Kingdom Halls were still basically owned by the Hall.
Yeah.
The case that kicked off the organization taking over Kingdom Halls was in direct response to a circuit that my dad got yanked out of Ohio. My dad was a hatchet man for the organization. So if there was a problem circuit, they sent him.
Wow.
And they pulled him out of a circuit in Ohio and sent him to California because a congregation had gone rogue. The elder body had basically taken over the congregation, They refused to give up congregation accounts. They wanted to take possession and ownership of the property, which the property is worth a lot of money. And so Dad, I think, was still being sued up until just a few years ago. But that prompted a push by the organization to take over all the property of the congregations that the congregations owned. And so as donations were going down and they were selling off property in New York, they suddenly became in possession of all these kingdom halls, and they acquired a lot more property to sell. So they've been selling them off as they've been bleeding money into construction projects. I think what the next big question is going to be is where is their next source of income?
Right. It's not going to be from the members.
I mean, I wouldn't think so.
No, couldn't possibly be.
Look at Scientology. Scientology.
Paul, excuse me, can I just interrupt you?
Sure.
Someone in the chat, Wildwall, wants to know if Dennis Raftopoulos is still alive. Do you know?
I think he passed away.
Okay. He
In fact,
knew him. Yeah.
I think I'd have to find it. I've got a cassette tape with Dennis Raftopoulos on one side, giving a defense to the rich man and Lazarus. And on the other side is which Franz was an apostate? Dennis or
Ray.
Ray. So it'd be Frederick Franz singing the prodigal son in the King James version. I'll have to find that. But Dennis Raftopoulos did not write letters. So what Dennis would do is he would take his cassette recorder, pop a cassette tape in it, and then he would dictate his letter, and then he would send that cassette tape, and then you would put it in your recorder and send the cassette tape back to him instead of letters. So I've got one floating around somewhere. But anyway, Scientology attracted all these rich folks that pay money in, and I could see the organization doing that with celebrities or rich people. But anyway, I talk too much.
No, that's okay. Wildwall said that that Dennis that you mentioned,
Yes.
he was his district overseer in Greenville, South Carolina.
Yes. Yeah.
Paul, I've got to ask you, did you know of a C.O. Houghton or any of the Houghtons?
I don't. That name doesn't sound familiar.
Okay.
But now my uncle, Robert or Bobby Nardolillo, was a circuit overseer too, and he was active all over New England, Georgia, Florida, and Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And if anyone knows him, he just passed away last year.
Yeah. Getting old. You know, one of the other things about aging, a lot of the exes now who have older parents who are going through, they're facing the change of the organization it's something that they don't recognize.
Yes.
And it's depressing for them. They're going through depression because their contribution means nothing anymore. They're having to face all these dress changes, which they're not used to. Women wearing whatever they want to wear, and men looking however they want to look, and whatever else. It's for them, for the old folks. They're depressed.
Well, yeah,
but they're gonna die off.
Yeah,
that's the reality.
That's what I was talking about earlier. Generational changes.
Yeah.
They don't care about this generation.
No.
I'll say, from my parents' point of view, they can't leave. They don't have any friends that aren't witnesses.
Wow.
They would have to rely 100% on me. And they've staked 56 years of their life in it. It's too late to change. And so you take a lot of witnesses that have left the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society as their heirs. And I've always thought that you know, it's the goal of the governing body to drive off as many of the younger witnesses as they can so that their parents won't leave money to their kids.
Uh-huh.
You know, so the next generation coming in, everything's changed. So anyway, I don't want to take up all y'all's time.
Well,
It's good
No,
talking
thank
to
no,
you.
that's okay.
Yeah, let's welcome Wild Wall in too, and we can all join in too. So, thank you, Paul.
Welcome.
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hi,
Hey,
Wild.
Paul. Yeah, Paul, when you
Hi.
brought up that name, that struck a chord with me because I got to tell you about Ralph Topless. He was the district overseer I had over when we attended the Greenville Memorial Auditorium. It's no longer there, but this is how far back in history this goes. And for some odd reason, the elders, I always thought it was funny to toss me in the car group with the circuit overseers or district overseers to make me sweat. I mean, really sweat bad. And Ralph Topless paid them back for me. He was very stringent and detailed, if you remember.
Yes.
And he always paid attention to that clock. It don't matter if it's circuit assembly or a district convention. He said he would let people know from platform, I'm very well aware of the time and we will not go over. He got onto a couple of elders for having them long extended prayers at the end.
Mhm.
And buddy, did he, a couple of them needed it. But I will have to say, I guess he was Greek with the
Yes.
heritage from the Raftopoulos, but he was one of the ones, he didn't play around with some of them elders that thought they were a God's gift to the congregation. And, but there again, I think he did too every now and then. He thought that his word was law.
Yes. He trained my dad very well. My dad and Dennis Raftopoulos were very similar.
So you can imagine me being a young punky teenager having to deal with Raftopoulos one-on-one at the doors. I was a nervous wreck.
You know,
Go ahead.
did he ever put his hand on your shoulder at the door?
No, I don't think he did. But
I remember him doing that a few times. I was too young to take doors when I knew him, but I remember him doing that to my dad a couple of times when Dad would get a little bit hung up on something, and Dennis would put his hand on my dad's shoulder. My dad would, whoop, you know, just be good after that, you know.
Yeah. He never was intimidated to the doors that I remember. He always had an answer or come back for something, or a scripture just to divert them away.
Yes. I'm going to have to find that tape with Fred Friends and Dennis Raftopoulos at some point and get it over to Fran and Joe, and maybe they can play it. It's pretty fun. I mean, Dennis Raftopoulos was very, very, very articulate and very persuasive.
I recall when in the congregation, friends would tape different favored speakers, whoever they were, great speakers, and they'd pass the tapes around of the speakers. Well, past a certain point, they didn't speak like that anymore. You know, they made them more like robot speakers instead of using their natural abilities and their talents the way they used to. Totally changed.
Well, we used to stick our foot in the door when they went to close it. That was acceptable.
You did that too. Holy smokes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hi, Diana. Sorry I drowned you out. Yeah. But
that's okay.
yeah, I think about how much the organization's changed. And I think how many shattered lives they've left behind.
We have no idea.
I've got a dear friend that she's my sister, like not blood sister, but we've known each other since we were 9. And she left the organization at 42 as a very devout up until then, married an elder who was anointed. She knew nothing about the world, nothing about anything. She went to a bar and a guy said he'd give her a ride home because he thought she drunk too much. And a couple other guys jumped in. Someone handed her a beer. It was spiked, and she got gang raped.
Wow.
And that's probably the worst story I've heard. But so many people were unprepared to deal with living outside the organization. And it's just done a disservice to so many people. And that's why I love the work that you guys are doing, because when people leave, they're shattered. They have nothing. They don't know how to cope.
It's true.
And
it's true.
It's good that you guys are doing it, and I appreciate it. And I hate I took up so much time, but I'm going to run out and mow the grass
Glad
before
you
it
Good for
gets
did.
dark.
you.
Glad you did, Paul.
Thank you, Paul. Thank
Yeah.
you for coming on.
Hey,
Yeah.
Paul,
Yes.
He's got it.
where are you located? I mean, not the exact area, but are you in the South still?
I'm in Gay, West Virginia.
Oh, do you get to go to any of the meetups? I'd like to hook up with you one day. I've got some circular series names I'd like to run past you since you go back to the 70s like I did.
Hey,
I would-
Wild, we can connect you and Paul together if that's okay with Paul.
Oh, sure. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you can give him my number.
Yep.
Yeah,
we'll do
definitely.
that.
And just, you can contact me anytime. The number that you have for me, Fran, I'm easiest to find on Facebook. But the
Okay.
number you have for me, Fran, is going to be disconnected soon because it's my
Okay.
New Hampshire number. I'm
Okay.
going to send you my West Virginia number.
Okay. Thank you.
All
Appreciate
right.
that.
And
Okay.
I would love to go to a meetup. May 18th, my girlfriend are doing what's called the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride
We invited him to
out of Cleveland, Ohio. Otherwise, we would love to do a meetup. At some point, whenever my place is done, people are more than welcome to come here. So.
Yeah, Paul, you know that Rick Ferron is having one August 1st through the 3rd in Tewksbury, Mass.
Okay.
I can send you that information too.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know what our racing schedule. We race motorcycles, so our racing schedule
Yeah,
takes up a good bit of time.
I bet.
But one way or another, we'll all meet up somewhere. It won't be in the new system.
I hope not. I hope not.
Okay, take care, everybody.
Stay
Thank
alive
you.
to 75, Paul.
Love you.
Bye-bye. Love you all.
Bye.
Yeah.
I'll head out too, Fran. That way others can come on, make room for some others. But
Oh, there's room for 10.
Yeah, we got room for 10. How have you been, Wildlaw?
Oh, I've been doing great. Life is good, I have to say. It's been really good.
That's good.
How about you guys up there? Y'all finally getting some of that warmer weather, right?
Yes, it's fitsy. It's warm, then it's cold and rainy, and then it's warm again. But the grass is growing like crazy now.
Oh, so is mine. I've got to do what Paul was talking about, go out and mow it eventually.
yeah.
I've been really busy between out on the property that you guys saw when y'all come
Yes.
visited. I've been out there and we've been doing some gaming. Man, I tell you, it's nice being 58 years old and being in on a game online and being the youngest person there. The other night I was the oldest. The night before that I was the youngest. I'm like, wow, it's so nice to be the young one at 58 in some of these games I'm playing.
Wow,
Like, all right.
the youngest.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I don't have to say I'm the oldest man now in some of those. I'm like, all right.
Good. You're aware of the investigations taking place and that Stephanie was explaining?
Yeah, I heard some of them going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, if anyone else wants to come on, I encourage everyone. There's some in the chat that are asking questions, so it's hard to for us to always follow the chat.
Yeah, we don't really follow the chat.
It says if you can answer, Fran and Joe, please do. All our questions are there in the chat.
I don't think we can, to be honest with you.
Okay. Stephanie ran away. My questions go unanswered, and you can't answer, can you?
No, I'm afraid not.
No, we don't have enough information
Don't
about
hate
it.
on us because we can't answer the questions, please.
What is the question?
I don't know. Can't keep track.
I think it's about what Stephanie was talking about.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have to have her on again.
Yeah. And we really can't answer with any authority.
Yeah, I think one of the questions was about the group WoW. You know, when I saw it, I thought immediately World of Warcraft, but it's evidently a religious affiliated organization. I think is what Colty was trying to point out. Like, why is it, or maybe I don't want to put no words in her mouth, but I think she's just curious of is it a religious organization and what religion is it affiliated with?
She said she.
Oh, that was Culture Talk, I think.
Yeah. It was Colty and Michelle, but if both of them could come on, I think they've got some good questions and concerns, you know, just for everybody, because I do agree with the part about, what was that scripture in the Bible? Be as innocent as doves, yet cautious as serpents, which you never really want to refer to
Hello,
yourself as a
Ash.
snake. Hey, Fallen.
Hello, guys. I'm making kombucha.
Who?
Oh, all right.
What are you making?
Kombucha.
Oh,
Kombucha.
oh,
It's
wow.
live
Yes.
bacteria.
All
Good,
right.
nice. Good for you.
Cheers.
Joe, can I show you something? Because you were talking about 75.
Yes.
Yeah. So I found something on a Dutch website, and Wildwell was just saying he was 58. I'm 58 as well.
Oh, awesome. We're from the same time frame.
Yeah.
Were you always in the organization, Diana?
I got Bible study with my mom when I was 15.
Okay, so you wasn't born in then. Okay, but you were there long enough to suffer like I did.
I was 15, so I had 15 nice years. No, I did have great years, but until you find out the truth about the truth.
Yeah.
I'm gonna share screen. Even kijken hoor. Where is it? Oh, here. So, can you see something?
Not yet. Not yet, Diana. No, nothing. No, nothing yet. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you see this?
Yes.
So
Yeah, hard to see it, but yes.
This is a Dutch website.
Oh.
From ex-witnesses.
Uh-huh.
And here it says, I'll just read it from here.
Yes, please.
Do you see this?
Yes.
So the picture says, how many days have passed since the Watchtower Society gave this last day's prophecy on 23/2020? 5 years, 1 month, and 10 days. You know, what Stephen Lett said, in the last days. The final
yes, yeah. I was waiting for him to say it. Update that.
Yeah. So this is a Watchtower from 1967. It says 57 years old. It says, when the many factors are put together, we find that it is our generation and our time that are identified in the Bible as the last days. In fact, in this year, 1967, we are actually living in the latter part of that time. This cannot be compared to just the last day of a week, but rather to the latter part of that last day. So,
okay,
they started with that in the 60s, didn't they? 75. The last generation.
Boy, it's a good thing people were gullible. Because if they weren't gullible, it would never work. It's just breathtaking how that worked.
Yes,
but it's also manipulation, right, Joe?
Well, I guess it is. It sure is. My goodness. When the video that we were going to show dealt with, it explains it.
Hi, Call T Talk. We asked Stephanie to come back on, so we're trying to get her on. Okay. Send me the link to come on the show.
Who's calling? Stephanie?
Stephanie needs the link to come on the show.
Do we have it?
I think Shauna gave it to me from before, if it still works. Shauna, I just have to ask Shauna something. Shauna, should we have Stephanie give her a link to come on, or shall we just have her go to the live chat?
It's actually pinned to the top of the chat as she's backstage. Here you go.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
Yes,
you,
Stephanie, thank you for coming back on. I think
Yeah.
Calty may have had some questions.
Yeah, hold on. I'm trying to connect my voice, my earpiece. Hold on.
Okay. Yep. Take your time.
Oh, it's very clear.
Oh, I recognize. Hi, I forget your name. How are you?
Hi. I'm very good. Very well.
Good.
Hold on. I have to leave and come back.
Okay.
Give me a second.
You'll notice we have on the website some other languages.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any that are not there that you might be able to contribute to. We'd appreciate it. Or if you know any other people with other languages.
Yeah, I'll send them through.
Thank you.
I know some in Germany and Italy.
Good, good. Yeah, I've been in touch with some people in Italy.
My computer broke down and I had to buy a new one because mine was like 15, 17 years old. And I got one now with it's called Windows 11. So I send the forms to be printed.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
I'm gonna send the. I also have a French friend and ExJW. Yeah, I'm gonna send them around. And in Spain.
Good.
We got a new, I was going to tell you, Diana, we have a new friend in the UK that reached out to us. So I'll get you her information.
Okay.
Is that Linda?
Alora, mermaid.
Hi.
Alora, mermaid. Hi, Alora. Thank you for coming on. Yes. If you have any questions, I know you were in the chat. It's hard to answer them in the chat. So we got Stephanie back on. If you want to ask any questions.
Yeah, I just missed it where you were doing the class action lawsuit. So could you, for those of us, can you give a little summary of it again?
Yeah, so the class action lawsuit is available to anyone who suffered crimes of a sexual nature as a child within the Jehovah's Witnesses in the United States. And we're using, instead of calling it CSA, we're calling it trafficking because their silence, which allowed for the crimes to continue and to repeat, created the conditions of trafficking. And child trafficking holds no statute of limitations. So many of the cases that, for instance, this is my fourth, I've been waiting for the statute of limitations to open up for myself. So now that we're looking at it from a trafficking standpoint, it holds, a lot more weight. And that's another reason why coming together as class action is a good idea, is because it'll show, the system and how the overall system works together instead of looking at each case individually. An ant on the sidewalk doesn't look like he's got a lot going on, but when you follow the ant back to the anthill, that's a busy little place. And so if we bring the eyes and the attention into the larger picture simultaneously, I think that we have a lot better chance for success, not only civilly in gaining, rewards for, these that have suffered, but also, such as law change. I've been working since 2018 or 19. Since California, SB 360, I've been going state to state to state trying to change the law, clergy penitent privilege exemption. But, you don't get very far when it's just a few of us working together. But if all of us come together in one voice, we have the power together. And that's why, because it shows the big picture, and which gives us all more weight behind our own personal claims.
Is it not my only concern?
Hello?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh,
hi. Yeah, I was just going to ask a
Laura.
question. Hi.
Okay, go ahead.
I was just going to
ahead,
ask
honey.
a question.
You go, babe.
How do they vet if, say I joined the class action suit, how would they vet? Would they take my statement? Would they take my story? I
Well,
mean,
it's
because
gonna
it's like
it,
anybody could come in and say, this or that. And so, and maybe it's,
so that
yeah.
would be, each case deserves to be heard by at least a legal team. And we have an attorney. His name is Travis Walker. You'll find his information on the bottom of the attorney-client intake form, because you're going to communicate directly with him through that via that form. You're going to tell him, just some small details, but nothing too graphic, so that he can kind of look through it and decide, if it's worth looking into it further or not. Some cases might not qualify and others will. I'm not a legal expert on that, so I can't speak to that. But if you feel that you might have a case, class action or otherwise, you don't have to file class action. You can file individually. That's fine. But this specific attorney is defining what happened to us as children, the repetitiveness of it because of the secrecy. He says is breeding grounds to basically to call it trafficking, which holds no statute of limitations. So it's just a new way of applying the laws that we have, to benefit survivors. It's just something we hadn't looked at before.
Okay, and so are we incorrect in saying that these people are giving away their rights to file any claims after joining a class action lawsuit, and who benefits from that lawsuit
Okay,
ultimately?
so the class action lawsuit will run like any other lawsuit. It's to protect you, the victim, survivor, who never had the protection, and that's why you now have this claim to injury. So you retain your story, you retain all rights. This is giving you the power to have your voice heard individually, but yet collectively. Um, so each case will be, held to its own merit and standard, just like we're all familiar with like Candace Conti's case, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so it'll be similar to that in that, we all have the same burden of proof, but part of the burden of proof is our united voice. And how I really realized this, when you go on the website and you look under the bios, you're going to find us three girls, and it is a religious website, but I swear to you,
Yeah,
it's
that's my other
only,
question.
yeah, it's only Star, myself, and Shannon on there.
But who benefits from this nonprofit?
There's
Who's
no,
the beneficiary of the nonprofit foundation?
we take no donations. It's only a nonprofit in that it's a spiritual journey that us three girls feel that we are on personally. Whatever your spiritual, political, whatever your views are on that, those are yours. That's your human right to hold your own opinion, but it's also your human right to have, the to be corrected judicially, and that's all we're trying to offer.
It's just kind of confusing that this lawsuit is going through a religiously affiliated organization.
Tell you, so she decided the WOW website belongs to Star. She's on the biographies on there, and if you read my biography, I say I conjoined my efforts with WOW. Not that I'm a part of WOW. She just wants to give victims a place to put their voice. And so she offered to put the forms on her website, just as other YouTubers have done the same. Like tomorrow night, I'm interviewing with Diary James or something like that. And he'll have the links under his podcast, just to print them. It doesn't have to be the website. It's just one of the places where the forms are at. And it's just easy to put it all in one space. We
So
take
you're saying
no.
they're not affiliated with the lawsuit. The organization, the religious organization, is not
Wow.
affiliated with the lawsuit.
Wow
Wow.
is Star Paul. She is an ex-Jehovah Witness. It's her website. That's all I know about it.
Okay, maybe it would be helpful to maybe have her speak on what that organization is. How is it affiliated with this lawsuit? Because it looks like it's affiliated.
Because she is coming forward in the class action lawsuit, and she's inviting everyone else to join it. I am coming forward with my own lawsuit using this attorney. Okay, let me tell you, maybe I should tell you my story. Okay, when I was 11 years old, my brother ran away from home. He was 15, and he ran away from home to escape abuse. He never was able to come back home. 30 years later, he died on the streets. I now had a little child to look for. I have since found the child, but all of this fighting for what we should have been protected as children against, when I finally was able to get justice with this attorney, that my lawsuit's supposed to be filed in like the first part of July is the goal. But I told him my brother has now died, okay? And I'm still trying to get justice for my brother. Thank you. And he died of the heroin epidemic in 2017. He was still homeless.
Wow.
And I am on this justice campaign for what happened to my brother. And when I'm finally getting a voice, everybody else coming forward is the voice for my brother. Because my brother is not alive. He can't sue.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you the one thing that my brother did do when he ran away from home. He put that mother effer in jail. And the gift that he left behind for all of us is court documentation that this happens within the Watchtower organization, and it's covered up. So
right. So
that's the inspiration behind the class action lawsuit, is that my brother cannot sue, but every victim has the opportunity to come forward, because that's what my brother would want.
Yeah. I would just recommend that everyone speak to a lawyer in their own state before they join into another person's lawsuit,
Absolutely.
I mean, that's just
Absolutely.
That's very sad what happened. Everyone here, I'm sure, wants justice for your brother. That's of course, but our
we want justice for all of us. Yeah.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. Our concerns are that everyone gets their correct justice due for each person. And also, I feel like this is a Watchtower dream. And what I mean by that is, when you have a class action lawsuit, it's one and done. It's all these cases, one and done. Whereas if you have various cases going on, not only to me does that show more in the public media, look, these cases, but for Watchtower, it's just easy for them to be like, okay, one and done, we pay out, we're done with it, and now none of these people can sue ever again for their own case. That's all. That's my concern for this.
Right. Yeah. And there, and the class action is not going to be for everyone, so come forward individually. Come on, let's come forward, all of us. Now is the time. That's all we're saying. And if you want to do the class action, great. If you don't, but this inspires you to seek your own legal justice, great. Class action is easier for some. So there's 3 of us girls on the website together. There's myself. I'm going to be filing on my own, because that way I can draw attention to the class action lawsuit, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Shannon has already filed, and she comes out of the Palmer cases. You guys heard of the Palmer files out of Maine with the
Yes.
with the human trafficking of our Jehovah's Witness children and
I've
satanic
heard of it. I
ritual?
don't know anything about it, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, it was a child trafficking ring, very well documented, and which also includes some satanic ritual abuse documented. So it's going to be a big case, and that's Shannon's case, and her case is already filed on the website. Underneath all of us girls, you can click on various news articles that relate to us personally. So you'll be able to go back and read some, and see that I have been advocating for
So,
gosh, like
Steph-
8 years now.
So Stephanie, if I could just add, so basically you're combining your voice with the other two girls, and it just happened to be that one of them had the website, so you're using that website.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's as if Culty Talk, if you had your
Yeah.
website and then you had Michelle and Alora on yours, and you jointly, combined your efforts. It's expensive to hire a lawyer. If each one of us had to hire a lawyer, we
Yes.
wouldn't be able to. It's expensive.
Well, and that's the other thing.
Exactly. Well, that's
there's no
what I was
cost.
gonna. Well,
There's no cost.
okay. There's
Yeah,
no
there's no
cost.
cost.
But so your lawsuit though is separate from this,
only
class action,
because
right?
only because I'm using mine to bring forward the class action, and to have a voice for all of us as we're trying to build up to the crescendo, to the ending, the finale. This is basically all three of us girls on that website have been fighting this more in a you don't know us very well because we've been out in the secular world giving talks at like anti-trafficking seminars with law enforcement. I deal a lot with politicians nationwide, and so I do a lot of political stuff behind the scene and get up close to people like Rick Grinnell, Kash Patel, different state senators in different states, and on the like. When my brother passed away, I was actually working for Tucker Quayle, who's Dan Quayle's son, which he was the vice president for George Bush during 9/11, or first George Bush in the early 90s. So I have a lot of connections. And so that's also why the redress is, because if we can bring all of our voices together at once and cause this storm, I'm hoping that some of the connections that I have in politics and in the journalist world will, if I can show this strong force coming behind me, they're going to pay attention, and we can demand some changes in laws that will protect the children, and protect society as a whole, not just the children. If we can stop the abuse, it makes a better world.
Yeah, of course.
Well, yeah,
So-
I agree. And that sounds good. Like all standing and you being united. We all want to be united and support each other.
Amen.
Yeah, there's just a pattern that I see in the ExJW community that has carried over from being a JW, where people blindly trust and people just trust whatever. And that's why we're trying to come forward to say, before people just go and jump into something,
Right.
you need to know all the facts, because if you're okay with a class action, if you're okay with sharing your story and knowing that you can't sue, down the road, or that you may not get what you think you deserve, or maybe you are like me and you want to have like a lot more cases. I would love to see cases all across the board going after Watchtower. That would be amazing.
Right.
You know?
Or some people feel stronger, like that Star, she wants to wait for the class act alone. A lot of us are fighting alone. A lot of us are in the world alone. Our families are still cult members. We're isolated because we never really fit in. I've been in the world for 30 years and I still feel like a weirdo. So it's a lonely world.
Right.
It's a really lonely
Yeah.
world, and we need to speak for everybody. And then our group, we're going on, not just Jehovah's Witnesses. The next cult that we're going to do the same exact thing with is the LDS, and then we're moving on to Scientology, and we have connections in those communities already.
That's great.
So, yeah, because it's not, it's ecumenical, which means multi-denominational. This is an issue. These pedophile rings, they don't care, what religion the child is.
Yeah. They don't
So,
discriminate, that's for sure.
no, they don't, do they? Yeah. So no, us three girls on that website have gone through very different spiritual journeys. Two of the girls are Christian, and then there's me. I'm not a Christian. But we all get along, and because we're all doing the same work, but we've all, through our healing processes that we've gone through together, the three of us girls over the last 8 years, we've been friends. We've really kind of gone through the spiritual battle of healing. So that's for us, that's what we feel is our ministry, is the new faith that we have found within ourselves, but we don't expect anyone to conform to what we believe, because the three of us don't even agree. But we're respectful of each other.
Someone in the chat said, Brian Chase, the really important part is the redress, bringing Watchtower to justice and changing loopholes in legislation. The strength we have is together. The lawsuit is a bonus for some people.
Right, exactly. So that really is. And if you read the redress, I dare say every one of us would find something that Watchtower committed a crime against us. I know Linda James, I don't think she's on the podcast tonight. Her and I have talked extensively on, the human rights abuses. Like, did you know it's one of your human rights that you're allowed to change your thought processes, your theological thought process, and you cannot be disciplined for that? I mean, it's like you're not allowed to be shunning is against your human rights.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
Of course.
About that. I do really appreciate that. I guess I'm just going to end with the note that I said earlier. It's just everyone should look into it for themselves and figure out how this all works before jumping onto a decision, and do what's best for you.
Yeah, and this is the early stages, so we have you all have time to do your research and to learn and to just that's why I'm here now, is so y'all can start to learn who I am. I've been more in the secular world, so I understand you don't know who I am. But I did used to work for Barb's Scars. Do you remember her nonprofit Scars? Barb Anderson?
Oh, Barbie.
Oh, Barbie Anderson. Yes.
Yeah.
You say that,
So,
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her and I have been friends for 15 years probably now. So, yeah, but I don't do a lot of social media stuff because I don't know how to work all that. But yeah, Fran and Joe have my number. Any of you are welcome to contact me. And if you have platforms, great. If not, at least share with 2 or 3 people and let them make their own decisions. So
all right. Thank
I would
you. Have a good night.
appreciate y'all.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for opening up to me
Michelle
tonight.
Michelle and Colty and Alora, thank you for coming on. And
Yes.
we appreciate all of you showing your faces, because that really makes it a little more personal. We realize some of you can't, so that's okay. We just want to introduce, for those of you that don't know, Craig Benoit. He's a licensed therapist. Benoit.
Yes.
How do you say it, Craig? Please. Benoit.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, how do you say your last name?
Benoit.
Benoit. Did I say?
Yeah.
Yes, you're
Thanks for having me on again.
Thank you. Yeah, so you're a licensed therapist, Craig?
Yes. Yes.
And you were never a Jehovah's Witness?
No, I was not. This is all just mind blowing. Like, and I started reading that book that you suggested, and it's just so many layers to it, And I catch myself thinking about it all the time now that I've been coming to these, sitting in on these meetings, just hearing these stories, and wow, it's just scary stuff,
I think the book you're referring to is it's specifically for therapists about
Yeah, it's
ExJWs.
cracking the cult code.
Yeah, and
And it's basically the person that wrote it tells you about her background, and she doesn't name what cult she was in. She just said it was a doomsday cult. But just scary, horrifying stuff that from somebody who never experienced that or even anything close to that, just to hear the stories, it's like, wow, amazing that people have left it and recovered or even trying to recover after that. That's it's amazing stuff. Yeah.
I just got a therapist, Craig.
And
I mean, it's been going good so far. I like her.
Good. That's a big thing. I find that if you have a good, because being a therapist, I also have a therapist, and going into it, you're like, if you don't make that connection, it's really hard. My daughter had a therapist for a couple of years and she loved it, and then the woman left the practice, and so she couldn't see her anymore, and the next one that came in, she was just like, nah, I don't like her. So there is you got to have a good connection,
Yeah, that's true.
I work with a lot of
so
kids.
true.
I work with mostly children. I think maybe because I've been a dad for so long, but even then, like they're leery and they're worried that, I mean, maybe not from being in a situation like you folks, being from a religion, a cult, but just victims of horrible abuse and maltreatment. And then having to trust this guy that's sitting in front of them, like, I don't know you. It takes a long time to develop rapport. And especially, like, I haven't worked, obviously, I'm trying to learn more so I can help people in your situation. But it's kind of like if you never served in the military and you're trying to deal with combat veterans, you better really have some research behind it before you go trying to help, because there's just so many layers to it,
Well, thank you for being a part of this. This right here is therapy for me right now. So, I mean, every time I come on here is therapy, but yeah.
And it all started because I had an old cuckoo clock that needed fixing, and Joe fixed it. And it's my wife's favorite thing. She just chimed in. The cuckoo clock.
People are the best part of it.
Yes, absolutely.
That's right. Anyone have anything to say or any questions for anyone?
Hey, Fran, I would like to share something. It kind of goes along with what Colty and Michelle was discussing about class action. I Googled if you join a class action lawsuit, can you file individually later? And it's interesting what it brought up. Notice this, and I'm going to illustrate something here. Let me paste it. Just a second. Can you see that, Fran, what I pasted?
No,
It's
nothing
can't.
yet.
Why?
Wow.
Not yet.
It's in the comments. It says,
in the comment.
yeah, because
yes, okay. I got it.
Yeah, I asked Google, if you join a class action, can you file individually later? Notice what it brought up, and I couldn't get it all on here what I wanted to post, but that was part of it. And as I say, this is just Google. I'm not an attorney, and they are not neither. But I'm pretty sure you can bank on that one right there. That if you do, and let's illustrate it like this: the case that Stephanie herself mentioned. Candace Conti. What if Candace Conti would have joined a class action lawsuit and the person that filed it didn't have as strong evidence as she did? Then she would have forfeited her right to file later individually, and we would have never even known who Candace Conti was. Do y'all understand that? That's very serious, and this is why I appreciate what Colty and Michelle and Laura had alluded to. What we need to understand. But now, if you've got a lot of strong evidence and people to back you up, and you can't, then I would strongly recommend going individually. But if you just want to let your voice be known and you're not sure, or you really don't want to be out in the forefront, then probably the class action may be the way for you. I'm not saying it is, but you may want to look into that. But as I said, Candace Conti, we would have probably none of us heard about hers if she would have went as a class action lawsuit. It's only because she was individual and brought it with a lawyer that we probably all know her by name. So anyhow, I just wanted to share that real quick. That was a good observation they brought up.
So few of those. So,
Thank you, Weil.
yeah.
Good point. Hey, Fallen.
Yeah.
You were making kombucha. One of our new members or joiners or friends, 86-year-old, and he connected with us the beginning of the week. He makes kombucha too, so he wants to get together on the phone and compare recipes.
That'd be great. Well, here's my first SCOBY. This is a SCOBY.
So that's like the mother?
Yep, this is what makes kombucha. So it's it's good bacteria. It looks disgusting. It looks like booger, right? But it's good for you. So
Yeah, my wife used to make that. She was drinking that for a while. It's weird. It's like an alien living in a jar under the counter.
yep. Yeah, it's alive. Isn't that crazy? So interesting.
That is, yeah, it's cool.
You can eat it. You can actually take.
I'll pass.
Hey, Fallen, I missed part of that conversation. I was talking to somebody. Is that kombucha? Is that similar to the mushroom tea that's real big for gut health and all that, where you let it
Yeah.
ferment? Okay. Yeah, my mom used to do that. I at first did not like the idea of mushroom tea, but wow, it is good after it ferments. It is really good.
Can I mention something? I think I saw an advertisement from the lawyers, and also that Aaron Brockovich is part of. And they also want Jehovah's Witnesses to join some sort of class action lawsuit. Do you know about that?
No, I don't.
So they want the.
I read something about that. I saw an advertisement or advertising on the internet. So the lawsuit Aaron Brockovich is a part of. The law firm Aaron Brockovich is part of. I think they were advertising Jehovah's Witnesses come forward.
Oh, I see. Well, at some point, the lawyers may figure out that there's money to be made. And I think when they realize that these are real money-making cases, that I think they'll be easier to enlist. That's what I think. So this is where I think the class action suit helps. It kind of paves the way for others.
I'll try and look it up and I'll send it to you.
Yeah. There's a lot going on with that because, I mean, for so many years, this has gone on unnoticed and untouched, unreacted to, except now for the Catholic Church has been like the first one that the hammer came down. And now they are paying many millions of dollars out. We have a friend that we do some charity work with, and they're a member of a Catholic church.
Mhm.
And they say that just their one church owes how much? How many million?
We got to ask them again. It's in the millions.
Several $1 million. Just their one
I'll see
church.
if I can text, if I can get an answer.
I mean, how does it feel to have to pay off for someone's crime? And I guess that's the benefit of belonging to a church, a religion. Speaking of religion, and someone mentioned, it was Stephanie that mentioned her mission. And obviously our mission is reconnecting the friends who've been disconnected. And frankly, our people ask us when we explain to them what we're doing, and we tell them that's our mission. They say if we're connected to a church or a religion, I say that is our religion, our love of people. But no, we're not connected with any church or any religion. We have no need for that, no interest in it. It's the churches and the religions that are going to be the target of all these lawsuits because of the pedophiles that are protected in those religions. So much is happening, and it's going to happen. We just would like a safe place for the people who are going to come out. I guess you could think of something like people escaping Babylon the Great. You know, if they are getting out of her, where are they going to go to? You know, are they going to look for? What are they going to look for if all the religions have been hammered by the governments? They may want to quote unquote go somewhere. They may need to, because they're used to the collection. They're used to that being in a corral, feeling like there's protection there, and that's, I mean, it's very real. So the question is, what's going to happen? We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We just know that people always need. There's always a need that people have, and frankly, that's what religion's always traditionally were supposed to be for caring for the needs of people that government couldn't, and for the spiritual need and for the social need.
Joe and I just did an interview on ExJW Diaries on Justin's program, and after that program, I mean, it came out on Sunday. Sunday the phone calls started coming in. Monday all day long. Tuesday still coming in, and we're still getting texts. It just shows that the ones that are leaving really need to connect. And some really sad stories. Some, people coming out, they want to help right away. They want to help.
Yeah.
Some, they need to be helped. So if anyone wants to be, it's just Joe and I. We can only talk so long on the phone. We have a business and, we have a life. So if anyone wants to share in, Ash, thank you. We can use your phone number, your email, whatever you want, your text, and we can direct people your way. We've got people in Florida, people in New York City. There's one in Puerto Rico and one in Canada. So, we need more people to spread, what we do, and we'd appreciate it. So let us know. I know.
Yeah, I would love to help.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Fallon. I know Diana takes on all the Germany, France, Spain, England. And Diana, if you don't know, she's in the Netherlands. So, and we appreciate her coming on because it's very late there now, isn't it?
Oh, very early.
Okay, early. What time is it?
1 o'clock.
I'm 6 hours ahead of you.
Oh,
Yeah, so you're like 3 o'clock.
Yes, 3:15.
ooh,
Wow.
boy.
But you're
I
on
got home.
vacation.
I got home at almost 1. So
Oh my goodness.
going out all day. I was at 9:30 this morning. I was at my aunt's, my worldly aunt. She's 86.
Wow.
We went to my sister, and then we went to the flower exhibition.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yes,
I sent you some pictures, Fran and Joe.
were they tulips?
Yes, a lot of tulips this month.
Yes. I mean, that's what I always know Holland for is acres of tulips.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in the Second World War, so they had the battle. There's a movie called Bridge Too Far. It's about the Battle of Arnhem.
River Kwai, right?
No.
No?
No.
Oh, that's another one.
This is a battle in Holland in the Second World War, and General Montgomery from England, he was leading it, but the Allied forces needed to get to all the bridges in Holland because those highways went into Germany. What was I talking about?
The bridge too far, the
tulips.
flowers,
Got on with
tulips.
tulips.
Oh, yes, tulips. So
It's late.
they actually
Yes, late for her.
lost that battle because there was an SS army there that they didn't know of. So they dropped a lot of parachutists behind enemy lines. And that is why the war for Holland continued for another year.
Oh.
And
Wow.
so a lot of Dutch people ate the tulip bulbs.
Is it?
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. We called it the hunger winter. There were a lot of people dying because of the hunger.
Oh, goodness.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
No, we didn't know that.
Yeah. They actually found some film material a few weeks ago of the liberation by the Canadians of the south of Holland. And my aunt this morning told us that the Germans sunk a lot of ships because they wanted, so the invading ships couldn't land. So the south of Holland in the sea area, North Sea area, was liberated by the Canadians, and that's where all the rations came in, the food and they had to have Antwerp harbor open, so all the provisions could come in, the food and weapons for the Allies.
Wow.
So that was very important.
Well, I can imagine. Wow.
And I have a friend in Canada, and she said, well, the Canadians joined the Allies before the United States. So, oh, I didn't know that. So, yeah, learn every day.
Yeah.
Of course, Pearl Harbor was bombed in 1941, December 7th, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's so nice the countries had allies, but it's so unfortunate that there was the war.
Mhm.
You know, that they couldn't have worked it out another way.
Yeah. I saw Schindler's List again recently. Yeah. Horrible things. Well, horrible things happened ever since the beginning.
Yeah.
And when religion is, drawn into a war, and it always gets more extreme.
Some say there wouldn't be any wars without religions.
Yes.
Governments appreciate that.
Well, that's what Watchtower taught, right? In Revelations, that the whore was had a part of everyone killed in fights or something like that. And Elaine Bales, or she has a different surname now. She once said that what you were talking about in the beginning about manipulation, that in Revelation there is some text, or maybe one, that talks about pharmakia. You know, that has to do with manipulation.
The what? Say that again.
There's a word used, and in Greek it's pharmakia.
Oh, okay. Pharmakia. I say pharmakia.
Oh, pharmakia.
Okay. I got yes.
It also has to do with manipulation and yeah, sort of like striking people's minds.
Yeah. Yeah.
And pharmakia is also has to do with spells, right? Spells and I heard I have a friend who is very much into spirituality, and they can cast spells. Watchtower also cast spells.
I believe it.
Broadcasting, casting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So sorry.
Oh.
Ish.
Well, I was just getting back to what Joe was saying about religion and war and stuff. I've heard that phrase too, that because of religion, or wars caused because of religion, right? Like, I mean, that's the way of life, right? Religion is your way of life. So why does my way of life have to make you fight me, or like make people violent?
Kind of interesting, huh?
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
Or it does.
Well, going along with what Fallen's illustrating, how many people did the Bible say that Jesus personally killed himself while he was on earth? They may allude to, well, and after Armageddon, he's going to come and slay everybody. But how many did he personally kill while he was on earth? How many people did Buddha kill? How many did, you can go back as far as you want to, but it's always the followers for some odd reason that gets tricked into killing people. The sheep, as Joe calls them, the ones who want to be led or told to do, but the ones who think are on their own usually won't join in.
So is thinking on my own religion, is that a religion? Or, I mean, that's my way of life. I have critical thinking.
That's your faith.
Would it necessarily have to be a religion, or is it just your life? Why does it have to be religion?
Well, look, religion literally means, if you want to get technical, religion means to gather back. So you're not doing any gathering back. You're just practicing your faith.
Oh.
Okay? Now, if you joined a huge mass of people that someone was getting together, then that would be like a religion. But you're practicing your faith. You don't need a religion to practice your faith. You don't.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. And that's what people are realizing.
Gather together, so it's a congregation. So basically, spirituality is within. That's a personal thing.
Yeah.
But religion is a thing where people come together. So it's like when you have all these people, then war happens.
Well, look, every religion every religion points out some evil, bad guy, country, place, people. They're the bad guys. They're the ones that God will bless you for killing them because they're evil. And that's the trick. See, that's the trick that they play on people.
That's the manipulation, right?
Yeah, yeah. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. Why would you want to go kill somebody you don't know?
Right.
You wouldn't. Not unless someone pointed out to you that, oh, God said these people are bad. Act of faith to go kill them. Oh, so I mean, people are wising up to this and realizing we don't want to do this. This is not moving. Especially as the world gets smaller, so to speak, and we're interlocked by families earthwide. You know, transportation, my people over there, their people over here. And no, we don't want to go warring over there. Those are my friends and brothers and sisters. See, they could get away with that when people weren't so mobile, but they're not mobile anymore. They're mobile now. You know, your relatives are all over the world. Well, so the old way doesn't work anymore. They got to come up with new ways.
We have to believe in ourselves then, not believe in other, like, I had to believe in myself, you know, and not to be manipulated so quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you try to trust someone else, then that's only puts you in potential harm's way. That video that we were going to show, Fawn, is really good. If it goes through, it explains our nature, and that they know about the powers that be. They know, and that's how they get at us, because it's a craft. See, just like you've got a recipe to make the kombucha, they have a recipe as to how to manipulate and exploit people. It's a craft.
That's crazy.
For them, it's a way of managing people. You know, we're a commodity to them. So whoever they are, they dominate. And that's what the Bible said. The Bible said that man dominates man to his injury. So we have to learn how not to be dominated. Unless you like being dominated. Some people like being dominated. Seriously. Some people do.
That's true. You're right. Those people are submissive.
Yeah. No, they will like it.
And obedient.
They're looking for a master. They're looking for a master. Someone who will do their thinking for them. In return for a prize. You know, we'll promise you this, we'll promise you that. Well, it never comes.
I see that in a lot of women.
Yeah, well, you know, it's true. It's true. But I mean, in all fairness, it's with men too, because men seek the same things, only it's on a different scale. You know, they attach themselves to parties, political parties, and different things, and all it ends up in is killing. All it ends up is. It's not very good.
A friend of mine joined a church, and she's drastically changed her beliefs. And when she got there, because a lot of ExJWs, they don't have any physical friends. Like my friend, she says, I have one friend, it's a hairdresser. And her only friends are, are online, and sometimes you need companions or people who are like-minded.
Yes.
And one of the things she asked, if I go to this church, but I don't believe the same you do, will you still accept me? Something like that. And I said, yes, yes. And they also believe in reincarnation and, and the love thing.
There are a lot of, they're not mainstream, but there are a lot of church groups where there are people who, are of the same mind, accepting.
Yeah.
I can appreciate.
They accept everyone, with
you just with
background.
But even within those, you still have to watch out, because the basic nature of different of men, people still comes out. And see, and here's the bottom line of it all. You're still gonna get the snake in the grass. You're still gonna get the pedophile who sneaks and pretends because he knows there are people there who would be his victims. It's almost impossible to cancel and weed them out. It really is. That's the problem, because the people collect together. It's natural to want to collect together. I'm going to bring my family here. It's a safe place. There are other nice families, children. Oh my goodness, that's like an invitation for an evil person, a wicked person. They're putting all these victims in one place for him. All he has to do is blend in.
Yeah.
And pretend.
She said, she's 60. She says, I think I was the youngest there. So if children come in, with families, then that attracts.
That's it. It's so hazardous. It's such a risky activity, all because of that nature of mankind. And it is how do you get rid of that? How do you get rid of that pedophile nature of men, or women too, I guess, but men.
Mostly men. Yeah.
How do you get rid of that? Because it's all over. It's all over. But yet people.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, but yet people still like to collect. I know. I think that we're figuring it out in a way. Like this is like a grassroots way of starting that. Of course, this isn't a religion, but it is a group of people. I think when you leave it up to the individuals, it organically people will collect together in small groups. And I'm not talking about big groups either, because big groups, you can't manage a big group. When you have to start, all of a sudden have a big group, you've got politics that start playing. Now you've got the leaders that want to come out, and then everything gets weird. I generally wasn't a joiner, but boy, did I make a mistake when I joined the witnesses.
Well, they're master deceivers,
Oh, well, they had what I was looking for. We were looking for an organization that taught the Bible and had young families. And it's like.
And very idealistic, a paradise earth, peace on earth.
Oh my God. Well, that, honestly, Diana, it was like saying, I'm not interested in that. That's not what I was interested in. But they were kind of like throwing that in. And it's like, okay. I'm not saying that didn't appeal to others. It did. Honestly, what worked for me is that my children were being inserted into that. And my concern now is for their desire and their being part of that. That's where, oh boy, it worked. It just worked. I wasn't wise. Now we are.
Yeah. Yeah. When my mother and I started Bible study, so my grandfather died just before that, and they were return visit, and the Jehovah's Witness that always visited my grandparents. He was allowed to do the talk at my grandfather's funeral. That's how we got involved with it, because the resurrection was beautiful. They have a beautiful message.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
And just like there was a video about the memorial. Who was that again? Oh, the woman, the blonde with the glasses. What's her name? Her husband also has a channel.
Oh, you're talking about shunning?
Yeah, stop the shunning. Stop the shunning.
And the shunning,
Beth.
Stop the shunning, yes.
Yeah, she's got.
And she had this title, Jesus is bait.
Yeah.
With a memorial. Because
Oh my goodness. Jesus is bait.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's perfect, and everybody else here on this earth isn't. And then you see disabled people, and it's like, oh, I want to be able to run. I remember that video where it's like you see a person in a wheelchair, and then they start running.
Oh, God.
You know how many times I imagine my two hands looking like the same? I could do 2 high fives. I always imagine that. I'm like going door to door. I'm telling all these people, guys, this is the true religion.
Yeah.
But I still have that hope. I mean, technology has made a lot of people that are disabled more able than they are before,
Yeah.
That's a hope.
Yeah. Were you born that way?
It was an accident.
Oh, okay.
It was an accident when I was a baby. The doctors, they did not do the procedure right.
Oh,
And
dear.
babies, they're very fragile. So, sometimes doctors can mess up.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
wow.
so true.
Dear.
But it made me stronger, I mean, I'm alive for a reason, if there is a reason. And I use it to tell people that to not feel pity, because I am able to function and speak clearly. I mean, I have an uncle that's paralyzed from his toe to his head. So
wow.
I feel sorry for him, but he still smiles. And
wow.
I know it's, but I feel like what the meaning of life is, what do you see? How do you react to it? Of course, I'm going to say that I'm beautiful. I'm not going to tell myself that I'm ugly. Like, I hear that a lot already in school. So now that I graduated, I can educate these people and say, how about you say something nice and keep your intrusive thoughts to yourself, because we all die and you can't fix that either.
So how would you say in school the majority of children treated you? How would you say?
I had a few friends, but that was because I was living a double life. So a lot of my friends I couldn't hang out with. So, I mean, it was complicated. My parents were Jehovah's Witnesses, and I couldn't really do after school stuff. So I didn't have many friends, but I had acquaintances, and there was a lot of nice people, but there were a few people that were really rude and mean. So, yeah.
They were asked if they were rude and mean because you were a witness or because of your hand.
I mean, I think it was because they just didn't. They were immature.
Well, yeah,
that's for sure.
Then it's. I mean, I received that stuff. I was overweight when I was in school.
Because there was some Jehovah's Witnesses that were in school that I knew that had friends in school. They were raised differently. Like, my parents were strict, but Their Jehovah's Witnesses, they weren't strict.
Yeah.
So they blended in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Our children did not blend in.
No, they were separate. And then we homeschooled. Past a certain point, we homeschooled all 4 of them. I think Stefan is on stage. He doesn't have his name or picture, but Stefan, can you hear
Hello,
us?
Stefan.
Yeah, I can hear you guys just fine. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay,
Welcome.
awesome. I'm enjoying listening to what Fallen just said. When I was in grammar school, and this is the only grammar school I ever attended for all of sixth grade, first through sixth grade. But it was a school that was blended. So we also had kids with, and I don't know what the right word is. I'm just going to say disabilities for now. And I think that was the greatest. And we had classes. Everything was, was pretty much mixed as much as they could. And I think it was the greatest experience because we didn't see kids with disabilities. We just saw kids. You got to meet, interact. You knew physically what they maybe could or couldn't do. You knew some were a little bit more delicate, so you didn't roughhouse around them because you didn't want to accidentally, bump into them. Some were braces, some were wheelchair bound. But it was such a great experience because we didn't see that over time. You don't see that. You just see Jim, Susan, Mary. You don't see a kid with a disability. You just see that kid. Yeah. And that was such a great experience, especially in those formative years. And I've always carried that with me when I see people who you may say have disabilities. I don't really see it. I just see that person. And I'm going to like and interact with that person, not because of their disability, but because of whether I get along with them, our personalities kind of match, or not. And some are mean, which is totally understandable. If you can't run and do the things you see other kids, that could make you mean. And then there were some that were just like Fallen said, they were just pretty much happy, easygoing, and had beautiful personalities. And it was just such a great experience. And I just kind of wish everybody could have gone through that, because I'm telling you, you're going to see the world completely differently.
Yeah. Our daughter, when our daughter was in grade school, there was this little boy that she befriended, and she kind of took care of him and took him to class. And, same thing, stuff. And they were integrated.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, I feel like it's good that I was placed in a class where I was with the class. Like my brother, he has autism. So he had to be in special ed, which is a specific classroom for specific people that had a different mannerism or a way of learning. So I used to be a teacher, so I mean, I've seen the school system and how each room has different kinds of like personalities and kids with the way they look, and I was placed in the normal, all I had was ADHD. I didn't have autism, but a lot of people were just normal with me. They didn't really notice my hand because first off, I hid it. I didn't want people to see it. But that was part of my insecurities. Now I don't care because I'm an adult and I have grown up. But as a kid, yeah, like it I don't know. If I were to go back in time, I wish that the teachers like did a little more with like teaching the class about disabilities, I guess, like physical disability. How about that?
Right.
Like there's a difference with mental disability. You don't see that, but physical disability, you could be like, I mean, Stephen Hawking, he's smart, but he has a physical disability. It's kind of like, I don't know. I think society has done better though with people with disabilities for sure. But I have experienced my bad experiences before in school. So yeah, I mean, other than that, with the religion that I was in, I was hoping for something that wasn't real. But I mean, in a sense, like coming out and realizing this was a cult, that's a big part of why my mental health went down, because it's like, wow, I've hoped for my uncle to have, you know, what if this wasn't real, you know? I mean, I'm still hoping there is an afterlife for those that didn't have it good here, but you know, that's deep stuff, you know, to think about. And for now, all I can do is just be happy with what I got. I have to just, you know, and I'm lucky. I'm a lucky girl. I'm living in this nice house, you know. I mean, I would have to say I have to just not complain so much. I mean, that's, I don't know, that's my advice for myself. And yeah.
You're an inspiration. Oops, sorry. You're an inspiration for us, Fallen. You really are. We appreciate, you know, what you've gone through, what you're dealing with, and what your future is.
Thank you. That means a lot.
I feel like as I'm listening to you talk, you reminded me of something that I became aware of a few years back. My favorite books in the Bible were Proverbs and what's the other one? Ecclesiastes. I like those two books the best. And I never really thought much about why, but I would read them, you know, and I'd write certain verses down and I'd kind of memorize it. But later on, as I got older, got to be a grown person, I realized the reason why I like those two books is because they're philosophical. And if you really take a step back in your brain and think about all the verses you've read in the Bible, there's no philosophy in any of those verses other than in Proverbs and Ecclesiastes. And it's really interesting because Proverbs basically said, you know, things happen. And there's that verse that says that the race is not always to the swiftest person. In other words, you might be totally lined up and everything looks like it's supposed to go right. You're the fastest runner, and then you get out there and you slip on a banana peel and you lose, you break your leg. I mean, anything can happen. And so as I'm listening to Fallen, I'm just reminded that we have to be philosophical. She just raised a point that's so deep that when you come out of this and you start thinking for yourself and you realize we don't know what the future holds. We can say all day long that I hear people say all the time they can't wait to get to heaven when they die. And I don't dissuade that because that's that person's reality. That's that person's hopes, dreams, aspirations. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking you can't possibly know what happens to you when you die. Has anybody on planet Earth ever been contacted and can prove that they were contacted by somebody that died? The answer is no. So we don't know what happens. Maybe something happens. It's the unknown, and that's one of the things we have to learn when we came out of this thing is that we have to be okay with not knowing. You know, things are always kind of packaged that no matter what the problem was, there was a verse in the Bible for it. There's a hope for it. Just hold on, and then when you walk away from this, as Fallen just said, you don't know what the future holds. So now that really makes you appreciate the right now, like she just said, what you have right now. Because nobody knows what the future is. And even this teaching that Watchtower has about this quote unquote second hope and everybody's going to live on earth in paradise conditions. But even now, if you really go back and read those verses, that really isn't what the Bible's teaching at all. So what does that really mean? So it's a lot to think about. But that's why I enjoy what Fallen just said. We have to approach life from a philosophical standpoint.
And I want to add on to what you're saying, Stefan, right? Is it Stephen or Stefan?
Mm-hmm, Stefan.
Stefan. I appreciate what you're saying. Like, you know, even though it's the unknown, obviously, for my cousin that died, her name's Savannah. She looked like Stephen Hawking, basically.
Okay.
So she's my cousin. She's basically she died at 25 years old. And I was actually going to visit her, but she died right before I visited her, which is weird. But it's like, even though I don't know where she is now, I'm going to try my best to live my life the best that I can so that if there is something in the future, maybe I might see her or whatever. I don't know. I just have a perspective. Like the fact that it's unknown, I can have a hope.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You know?
I like what Joe always says. You know, we don't know. Some people know that they had a before life, but most people you don't know where you were before you were born, right? So we don't know where we're going to be after we die. It's kind of like a, put perspective on it that way.
Yeah, that's
Right.
true.
But
Yeah.
we do know where we are right now. I think it's the more important thing, where we are right now.
Right. And I think I think that when we were in the cult, you're told no matter what, you're going to die, and then you're going to be resurrected, and you're going to live in paradise forever, right? So you don't really care about what happens now. You don't bother taking care of yourself. You don't bother taking care of your body. You don't maybe save for the future if you really paid attention to this organization. But then once you step away from it, you realize how important right now is, because you don't know what the future really is going to be. So it just makes you appreciate life and makes you appreciate other people.
Right.
Yeah. I tell you, for me personally, I never really felt connected to just people in general until after I left. When I left, I really see humanity as my brother and my sister. I don't care where I am. I try to interact with people and find some kind of common ground that we can kind of talk and laugh and have an interchange. And I never did that before. I just looked at people as either you're going to accept this Watchtower and this Awaken a Bible study, and if you're not, then I keep it moving. Try to find somebody who can. But now I don't have that opportunistic view when I'm interacting with people. I'm just interacting with people to have a human moment. If it happens, fine. If it doesn't, that's okay too.
Yeah.
And there's so many good people in the world,
Right. There really are.
Yeah.
There really are. I'm just amazed, but there really are. Yeah.
I like the comment that Maverick made about Watchtower brainwashed us to treat this life as a waiting room.
Yeah. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Like,
right.
Let's enjoy now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to take initiative, to get friends.
You said take initiative. You just woke me up on that one. Someone asked me. They called in. There's a person who saw the program and called in, and we spoke for about an hour and a half. And the question came up about praying, and he asked me about prayer, and I said, I don't pray. I said, I don't know why I would pray at this point. I come to realize that I was given everything I need. And in my mind, if someone gave me everything I need and I failed to use it to the best of my ability, why would they want to give me more if I wouldn't use what I have already? It becomes greedy, and
right.
I've just basically come to feel, and what that does, it forces you to, in effect, to live your prayer. In other words, if you feel strongly about such and such and you desire such, well, work for it, work towards it. And if you feel for the plight of other people, do something about them. Do something real. And it's been an experiment, frankly, since we left the organization. It's like we strive to live our prayer.
Right. Yeah, I'm interpreting what you just said, Joe, about finding meaning in life. Because when I left the cult, that was one of the things that, first of all, you enjoy your freedom, right? Yes. You're not under this mandatory, got to get to a meeting, got to shave and shower, get to a meeting, and got to study. Stop. I know. It stresses you out just thinking about it, right? Just me talking about it. And so you get away from that. And then it's like, okay, well, now what do I do in terms of finding meaning? I don't want to just live a selfish life where it's just me doing what I want to do. How am I contributing to society? And I think that that's something that everybody on an individual basis probably has to contemplate and figure out what they can do with the time you have and the shape your body's in and all that kind of stuff, and have some meaning in life.
Yeah, you think about that. Think of the huge contrast between you personally, each one of us individually, considering what I want to do, what contribution I want to make in my own special way, as opposed to do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that, listen, obey, be blessed, don't think. It's like, oh my, what was I given a brain for?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Or what was I given free will for? You know, I don't have to listen to you.
Exactly.
Right.
And my thing is, we all sleep and we wake up. So it's like, okay, maybe I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't want to know right now. I want to know when it happens, when I die, when I sleep.
Yep.
I'm just gonna enjoy 2026, 2027, 2030.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And I'll tell you, like I said, when I felt connected to humanity, you know what began to happen? People just seemed to be drawn to me. I just would have people that would come up and just start talking to me. I can't tell you how many times I'll be walking down the street and there'll be other people. And they'll come right to me and say, hey, do you know where this address is? Or, hey, do you know how to get to... There might be 20 people standing around. And I always wonder, why they come to me? Like, what is it? Yeah, it's something in your spirit.
You're right.
People just look like...
Stephan, you are approachable because good people are looking for good people. And they find them.
Yeah. I have to agree with you on that. I have to, because you guys are like that. You guys are like a magnet like that.
No, we find good people. We're looking and we find them.
Yeah.
And that's what we try to convey to the ones that come out, where, how do I make friends? How do I find friends? And what I say is, be a friend. Never mind looking for one, be one.
Friends are right around us. They're our neighbors. People, like you said, Stephan, people on the street. Anywhere.
Yeah. And then I just think it's something in your spirit where people kind of see, like you said, they can come to you, they can kind of talk, they don't have to be embarrassed or whatever the case is. And, you have a warm smile and you mean it. And it's not opportunistic. It's not me trying to sell you something. I'm not trying to sell you a watchtower and an awake and a mag. There's nothing opportunistic. I am just one human being to another. And I think that's a good feeling too.
And yet, though, and on the other side of it, you need to guard that, right? I mean, it's your responsibility also to guard that quality, because otherwise, you could be taken advantage of.
That's a good point. And that I was trying to get on with Brother Farron the other day because they were talking about how, I think it was Brother Farron and Brother, I can't remember the other person, but they were talking about, he was talking about how he had even moved a couple into his house because they were homeless. And then there was another person that was having some sort of issues that he had given a job to. And while those things are great and wonderful, and it's the kind of thing you'd expect from somebody of his caliber, but we live in a world where you've got to take precautions. You can't move people off the street into your business. I was in education for a number of years, and I befriended a really wonderful teacher. And one day we were talking, and she mentioned to me, she would always talk about her father, and I said, "Well, what happened with your father?" And she said that her father always kind of hired some of the neighborhood guys to help out around his ranch or whatever. And this one guy had gotten on drugs, had been arrested, did a little bit of time. And when he got out, he was the first person he went to see, and so he offered him a little job of doing whatever. But he got back on the drugs, and he came to the house one day and basically demanded money so that he could buy drugs. And Mr. Reynolds wouldn't give him the money, and he killed him.
Oh,
And that's what, that's what happened. So that's my point. Those kinds of things really happen. These things affect the chemicals in people's bodies. They are not normal people anymore.
no.
And you cannot, as much as you might want to, you got to be very careful about what situation you put yourself in when you're dealing with people with drug and alcohol, and even mental illness to a degree as well. Got to be careful.
Cautious as serpents, innocent as doves.
You better believe it.
Yeah.
And that's where interacting with each other. You share situations. We bring each other up to speed on different situations and alerts.
Right.
It's
happened. Just like with that sister in the UK. Was it last year when she hired some brother? I don't know if he was an elder or what, to renovate her house.
Yeah.
And then he killed her and chopped her up and put her in a wheelbarrow.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
So, and that's the thing about it that angers me. They love to adopt this thing that, this only happens to non-witnesses. No, this happens to
And
everybody.
currently, in real time now, I will mention this. One of the supposed therapists,
It was he said he was
coaches, whatever, that was on the program last week.
When we had the therapist. I think
2
it was a
weeks
couple
ago.
of weeks ago.
His name is Rob Green. I don't know if anyone remembers him. He was living in with Barbara Anderson.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember that.
Well, he was forcing a contract on her to get her to agree to pay a certain amount of money. And it was a lot of money. And basically, he was forcing her to sign something like that.
Wow.
Barbara, she's widowed now. She has her
Right.
sister-in-law there, but he moved in and took advantage of her. And they went to court. They straightened it out. Everything moved very fast.
Because we got everyone involved, everyone was watching, and we made connections really quick.
Yes.
Right.
So we will not support him. We
Oh,
will
my
speak
goodness.
out against. He's got problems. He needs
I was
help.
making problems.
And he made a lot of problems for Barbara, and she took him in with the goodness and kindness of her heart.
Right. See, and that's my point.
And now his attitude is to sue her because of the law of
A tenant, a 30 days. A
If you're
tenant
in-
has 30 days. If they're there more than 30 days, you just can't kick someone out.
Now they've got rights, and it was blatantly clear what he was doing.
Right.
What a
Wow.
snake in the grass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we had no idea, and she had no idea. She had him on her program with Rick Fran, and then we had him on our program. So we strongly recommend that you don't have anything to do with him.
Yep. I agree.
Who you all talking about, Maverick? His name is Robert Green. He was on Barbara's program, and he was on our program, and he was taking advantage of Barbara.
Yeah, monetarily.
Yes.
MGW.
Oh, that's my good wife. That's Shauna. She's
Ah.
she's gonna wrap things up for us.
Time to say goodnight.
She's pointing at the watch.
Time to say
Yeah.
goodnight.
So I don't think that there's actually a movie on Discord tonight because Ruby, I know, had a bunch of stuff going on. I just put the Discord link into the chat, though. I'm going to go and just hang out for a few minutes in case anybody wants to join me, just to see if we're playing a movie or not. If we are, it's Muppet Treasure Island, so that'll be a lot of fun. Yep. And if not,
What's it
that would.
What's it rated?
I don't
Oh,
know.
it's okay.
You gotta
We'll
watch
have,
those Disney movies. You never know.
yeah, but we'll have somebody older there to hold your hand, so it'll all be good. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so just stop on by. It might be tonight. It might be another night. You never know. So thank you guys all for being
Thank
here
you.
tonight.
Thank you, Shauna.
Thank
It
you,
was
and
a really
Vern.
great show, guys.
It
Yeah,
was very good. Very thankful.
He's just waking up now, so this is a great time to wrap. So
Okay, good. All right.
Thank
Okay,
Tell them I
guys.
said, yes, say hi.
Yep.
Bye, everyone.
Love you.
Bye,
Will
Everyone,
do.
thank you for all coming on.
And
Thank you.
Joe, what does Vern say?
Keep living your lives with love.
Yeah.
That's
Bye
right.
for now, guys. Have a
Bye.
great week,
Love you.
everybody. Bye. Love you
Bye,
too.
all.
Bye.
Love you too.
In making friends.